May everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated time, date, and place of this public meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of the minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Present.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Strada? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Mr. Lechner?
I'm here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tonight we are swearing in the following officers: Sergeant Michael Miller, Patrolman John Benelli, Patrolman Richard Jones, and Patrolman Matthew Covington. Chief Earl.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Council President.
Will that work? Oh, there we go. Mayor, I ask that you join me. Council President Mercado, Deputy Chief Harkins. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here and participating tonight. And as we honor our 3 new police officers and the promotion of a sergeant. Special thanks to our police officers in the back joining us. So grateful that you came to see your fellow officers in a very special night. As well to our Chief of EMS in the back of Gloucester Township EMS, and you'll hear a nice connection to one of our police officers tonight. So we begin, and I ask that Officer John Benelli and his family please come forward. Officer Benelli, you began your career with the Gloucester Township Police Department as a Class 1 Special Officer in 2013. You were hired as a full-time police officer on January 3, 2017. You graduated from the Camden County Police Academy on June 5, 2017, and you now have successfully completed our field training program. You are a certified emergency medical technician, and prior to joining us as a full-time police officer, you served as an EMT with the Gloucester Township EMS for 2 years. Also, from 2010 through 2011, you participated in Mayor's Youth Leadership Alliance, Building Young Leaders Young here in Gloucester Township. Your field training officer described your demeanor on a recent medical call as extremely calm when dealing with the family members on scene. You are joined here tonight by your mother Karen, your father John, and your girlfriend Colleen. Mayor, Council President Mercado, it is my honor to request that Officer Benelli be formally sworn in as a Gloucester Township police officer. I think we're going to do all 3. That's it. Sorry. Just hang tight. We're going to do all at once. Officer Richard Jones and his family, please come forward. Officer Jones, you began your career with the Gloucester Township Police Department January 3, 2017. You graduated from the Camden County Police Academy on June 5, 2017, and you have successfully completed our field training program. Prior to joining the Gloucester Township Police Department, you served in the Army National Guard from 1989 to 2006, where you achieved expert recognition in rifle marksmanship. You also served as an armed security guard at the Hope Creek Nuclear Facility from 2010 through 2017. During your field training, your field training officer described you as having an overwhelmingly positive attitude towards your career as a police officer. He further stated that he observed you making many positive contacts with the public at local establishments in the community while on patrol. You are joined here tonight by your father, Richard Sr., your mother, Denise, and your 3 daughters, Alexia, Amaya, and Natalia. Mayor, Council President Mercado, it is my honor to request that Officer Jones be formally sworn in as a Gloucester Township police officer. Officer Covington and his family, please come forward. Officer Covington, you began your career with the Gloucester Township Police Department July 31st, 2017. Prior to your employment with Gloucester Township Police, you served as a police officer with Rutgers Police Department after graduating from the Camden County Police Academy in December of 2013. You served in the United States Army from 2004 to 2009 as a military police officer, achieving the rank of sergeant. During your time of service, you received numerous awards, including 2 Army Achievement Medals, 2 Commendation Medals, an Iraq Campaign Medal, and a Global War on Terrorism Medal. Your field training officer described a recent interaction where you attended a community food drive in the township, saying how helpful you were with such a positive attitude. Joining you tonight is your wife Shannon, your children Trevor and Jordan, your mother and father-in-law Howard and Maureen, and your Aunt Kathleen and your grandparents Don and Patricia. Mayor, it is my honor to request that Officer Covington be sworn in officially as a Gloucester Township police officer.
Certainly is my honor to swear you in. Officers, if you could please raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. I further solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of my responsibilities as a police officer in the Township of Gloucester to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations to you.
Another nice round of applause for the officers tonight. And if the officers and the family members could take their seats and we'll proceed, I do want to ask Officer Covington if you could stay just for a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, that if you heard that Officer Covington worked for the Rutgers Police Department. So he graduated from the Camden County Police Academy, but he didn't graduate as a Gloucester Township police officer. So when officers graduate as a Gloucester Township police officer from the Police Academy, we hold a special ceremony at the end just for those that graduate Gloucester Township. And we award them at the end of that graduation with 2 very important documents. The first being our mission statement. So at the end of the Police Academy graduation, we bring those Gloucester Township police officers aside and we give them a copy of their mission statement, which obviously is very important to us. And the other important piece that we do is we give them a coin, a challenge coin, that says Gloucester Township Police Officer. And I'll tell you a little bit about the legend behind that. And we explain this story to the officers at the Police Academy when they finish. And the legend is World War I, a lieutenant commanding a group of fighter pilots of the United States had coins made, emblazoned with his logo, with that squadron's logo on it, as a symbol of their dedication to the United States of America and their dedication to fighting for their country. And he gave this to all of those pilots. And one of those pilots was shot down. And he managed to hold on to that coin. He was captured by the enemy, stripped of all of his belongings except that coin. And he was fortunate that he escaped. So he escaped, and he had none of his personal belongings. And then he was captured by Allied soldiers, friendly soldiers. But they thought he was the enemy. And at the very last minute, he was able to produce that coin and say, "No, you do not understand. I am a United States soldier." And that ultimately saved his life. And what we do here at Gloucester Township Police, we issue that same kind of coin to every police officer when they join our department. And we are proud tonight to present our coin that has the words that we live by of honesty, integrity, respect, and compassion and courage to Officer Covington tonight. And we welcome him to the Gloucester Township Police Department, and we want him to carry that coin in honor of his duty and his commitment and to the mission statement that he will get tonight as well. So congratulations again, and it's my honor to present to you your coin. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Sergeant Miller and his family, please come forward. Sergeant Miller, you began your career with the Gloucester Township Police Department September 9th, 2002, and graduated from the Camden County Police Academy in February 2003. You were assigned as a shift investigator October 2015. You were promoted to acting sergeant in May of 2017 and sergeant of police in September of 2017. During your career here at Gloucester Township Police, you have earned 1 Merit Award, 4 Distinguished Unit Citations, 1 Chief Citation, and 2 outstanding police work letters in which the residents described you as very personable, understanding, and courteous. You are joined by your wife, Christina, your children, Alexa, Abigail, McKenna, and Michael, as well as your mother, Linda, and your in-laws, Liz and Jeff. Mayor, Council President Mercado, it is my honor to request that Sergeant Miller be officially sworn in as a sergeant of the Gloucester Township Police Department.
Sergeant, if you could please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible, and please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Michael Miller,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will, to my best faith
and that I will, to my best faith
and effort,
and effort,
support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State
and the Constitution
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of my responsibilities
all of my responsibilities
as sergeant
as sergeant
in the Gloucester Township Police Department
in the Gloucester Township Police Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
We have a special guest this evening. He is a resident of Gloucester Township, a product of our school district here, and went to serve his country after he graduated from high school. He is a Camden Metro police officer that was shot in the line of duty on November 1st. And by the grace of God, he is with us tonight. He was released from the hospital November 4th and is resting at home. And he's joining us here tonight along with his family, his father Joe, his mother Terry, his sister Katie, and his brother Kevin. If you can come up here, Patrick and Joe.
I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. What I have to say probably isn't an agenda topic, but I feel it's important to be heard. Maybe a little different from the norm when residents are in this situation, because I'm not here to complain, gripe, or ask for something. My name is Joe O'Hanlon. My family and I have been residents for Gloucester Townships for about 24 years. Those 24 years were relatively uneventful, and that all changed about a month ago. On Wednesday, November 1st, at about 10:20, my phone rang off the hook with a call that no one wants to get. I picked up the phone to hear, "Your son's been shot." My oldest son, Patrick, standing here next to me, is a police officer in the Camden County Police Department, and he also started off his career here in Gloucester Township as a special officer. My mind was racing. Shot? Shot how? Where? Wait a minute, on my way to pick me up, I can drive to Camden quicker. Then they can come get me and drive me back. Then it hit me. It wasn't Camden Police that had called, it was the Gloucester Township Police Department. Within minutes, Deputy Chief Harkins was in front of the house along with Chris Foschini and his wife Colleen. We all piled into the car, still only knowing that he was shot. As we were racing down 42, thoughts of what had been happening to my son were racing through my head. Both of the men in the front seat were on radios and cell phones trying to get out some more information. Whatever they were arranging on the phone or the radio was working. As we were driving down 42, other departments had entrance ramps blocked from other people getting onto the highway till we passed. Through all the commotion, somebody was able to find out that he was shot in the leg. Still concerning, but as you can imagine, it's better than being shot anywhere else. We got to Cooper in record time and were ushered into the trauma unit to be with our son. We remained at the hospital for the next 30 hours as our son's condition was monitored, and during that time and over the next few days before he was released, there was a constant stream of visitors. Police departments, politicians, and just everyday people coming in to check to see if they can help. Many of those visitors were Gloucester Township residents and police officers. Some knew him personally, some didn't know him at all, but they just stopped in to see how he was doing. The township also provided some assistance of keeping the news crews away from the house because Channel 10 can be a real pain sometimes. On the day he was discharged, police vehicles lined the streets around the hospital and we had a motorcycle escort home. It was a little surreal, but it was a nice tribute. On the ride down 42, I was thinking to myself, this is a pretty good ending to this whole ordeal, but there was more to come. As we turned down our street, I noticed again the Gloucester Township PD had a few roads blocked off and were lined up in front of the house, all saluting as we pulled up. There was a crowd of well-wishers standing along the lawn, on the lawn also, that included Mayor and Councilwoman Winters, And there was some other crowd of well-wishers there, some of which I did not even know, but they were there clapping and waving flags. Over the next few days, the surprises kept coming. Hundreds of cards from the township schools were delivered. Local restaurants sending over food with only the words "thank you" written on them. Neighbors and people from neighborhoods just stopping by to say hi, to offer their prayers for our son. Many of these people were complete strangers until now. Then it hit me. After 24 years of uneventful living, we have witnessed what a community is capable of when it comes together. They were reaching out because it was a hometown boy, one of us, part of the community. Gloucester Township PD could have let Camden Police come get us, but no, they did not. He's part of our community. The school kids didn't have to write get well cards to someone they didn't know, but they did, again, because it's part of the community. No one had to send food, but it kept coming and coming and coming. Strangers taking time out of their busy lives just to say hi, and it showed what this township is all about. When you put your differences aside, we all each have each other's back. So in closing, again, I would like to thank the mayor, the council, the Gloucester Township, the police department, especially Chief Farrell and Deputy Chief Harkins, and Chris and Colleen Foschini for helping us get through this great ordeal. One that I wish I never had to go through again, but it's good to know that the township was there for us when we needed it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joe. We want to thank you and Terry, your whole family, for the resilience that you offered to, of course, your son, but to this community as well. You're a great example of that. And Patrick, I want to just thank you for your dedication to public safety, for your commitment to improving the lives of others, and for your bravery. You know, being in public safety and in law enforcement is not an easy job. And you saw that firsthand. We are so thankful that you are here today and on the mend, and we're very proud to have you as a resident of Gloucester Township. We do have a very small presentation. I'll ask Chief Errol to come forward and present to you. But again, on behalf of our council, on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester Township, we're so very, very proud of you, and we welcome you home.
Thank you, Mayor. And Patrick and the mayor said it best. We're so proud that you're certainly a Gloucester Township resident. We're also proud of the Gloucester Township Police Department that you were a Gloucester Township Special Police Officer, and that means a lot to us. And we certainly have a connection with you, and that we always will. And it's my honor to present to you my personal challenge coin that has on the back really embodies everything that we do, and that is dedicated to service, committed to excellence. And I don't think there's certainly a more fine example of the work that you have done and the composure and everything that your family has done for you and the community has done for you, because you are a special person that certainly deserves that. So I present this to you with great honor, and thank you. Thank you for your service.
We'll take a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Take a deep breath.
Great job. I know it seems like an attorney. I meant to say it like it's a year ago, but yeah, your training program, the academy, it was good, doesn't it? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep, doing well. Very good. There's some typos on that, so we'll get you another one here. That was great. Give it to him. Okay, we're going to put one of the ones in your mouth. I'm Dave Hardy. It's a pleasure. You've got a good band here. Yeah, we really enjoy it. I always right at the get-go. I interviewed him, I got him on part. He's doing great. You having a good time? Good, man. You look good. Pleasure to meet you. Congratulations. That's good stuff. Proud of you. Hello, Andrade. Yeah.
Let me come in an hour late.
You didn't give me that stuff.
I don't think I was able to. I was
Yeah, it's very good. I just needed to say something.
I need a quick picture of you guys first, and then
Good for good. So you, and I think until it happens, that would love me.
It's good to be quiet.
Well, true. Uneventful sometimes.
Uneventful, that's good. Hi. How are you? How you doing? That's great. Very neat. All right.
Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call again, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Present.
Mrs. Winters?
Here.
Mr. Mignone?
Here.
Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl? Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Mr. Cantwell?
Here.
Okay, we'll have our first public portion. This is for agenda items only. I do want to bring your attention to that on the bulletin board there, we added a walk-on. It's a resolution 1711-310. It's a resolution of the Township Council of Gloucester, Camden County, New Jersey, authorizing the signing of an agreement to rescind the notice of default on Kearsley 3 LLC bond FP-0016147. Mr. Carlemere?
Yeah, that's basically, Township previously, several months back, we declared a default on the Kearsley 3 performance bond. We've been meeting, my office, as well as Mr. Cantwell, on the engineering side with the insurance company and their professionals regarding the finishing of this project. They've agreed to meet the outline as set forth by the township and the township engineer. They're supposed to start this Wednesday on paving of Withrush Avenue, and then completing the other 2 points that are in the agreement. If they complete the points, the resolution of rescission and calling of the default on the performance bond will be rescinded, and the project will be completed. I thought it was important to get it on because they're going to be out there this Wednesday starting the paving of the street. That's why it's in that way.
Thank you, Mr. Carlemere. Now we'll open up the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Councilor Ray Polidoro from Ariel. To go back over, I know you're going to have a second reading on this, but I just want to be clear before you re-announce this for second reading. On the ordinance and the salary increases, and I believe the questions were addressed by Mr. Cardis. And I want to make sure that I understood you properly. Understood the maximum and the range. I believe you mentioned something about within the state allowable 2%. I remember you saying something like that, and I jotted it down, but I wasn't quite sure what you meant. The numbers, even for the maximum, I was wondering what the formula or what type of guidelines or parameters you were using with the, because some of the salaries are going up, seem to be as much as 15%, some 12,000 a year, and I'm wondering what the parameters were.
Tom, before you answer, Ray, again, you stated at the beginning there is a public hearing on this.
But I also, as
come
the
back
reading,
again for the public hearing.
but I wanted clarity on it before I could readdress my questions.
These are ranges. I wasn't at the last meeting. I was out of town, but these are ranges. These are not salaries that, let's take an example, that the business administrator next year is going to make $152,000. These are salary ranges that are established.
Okay, but when you go from, and again,
Ranges.
the question was that it was about 2 years ago that this ordinance was passed again with salaries. Is that correct? About 2 years ago?
2 years.
Okay. If you were to go by the ranges and the numbers, let's say an administrative assistant, and you're seeing that range, which is increased by maybe 12,000. To create those ranges, where do those numbers come from? How does that range? Of course, one is a max, but how do you conclude that number? What formula is used for those numbers?
It's not a definitive period of time that the salary ordinance is created and the range is created. I can't tell you when we will revisit this. We may not revisit this a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. We're not using 2% as a factor in the range. The 2% comes about through the budget process, and again, that is not defined by the range.
And the reason I'm asking it, and in the fashion I'm asking, and again, before the second reading, so I have clarity, so I'm not asking a ridiculous question or a pointed question, is that given that range, and we had just done this 2 years ago, and you're stating that you don't know when you revisit it. So with it having been done 2 years ago, why now? And didn't that range cover that period of time? And what was the projected period of time you were hoping to cover with that maximum within that range?
I don't
Did you
recall
have a projected period?
Yeah, I don't recall specifically, but I would say within that 2-year period. And there are other adjustments within this salary ordinance to other titles. Again, I can't tell you that this is for. I can't tell you an ending date with regard to the ranges, because they will stay in effect until such time as we have to revisit those and adjust them at a subsequent time.
And again, what's concerning is some of these numbers are, and I don't begrudge anybody a raise. You work hard, you're rewarded for your hard work, and a lot of people in this township work very hard. But the numbers are a little concerning with 2 years ago and reflecting that those maximum numbers now, without any definitive time limit on that when you'll revisit it. You could be talking anywhere from 15 to 20% increase in a salary. And if you visit it again in 2 years, who's to say that that doesn't make the same jump? There's some pretty dramatic jumps, but most people in the private sector don't usually see these type of increases in their salary. And I'm only gauging on the fact that you had done so 2 years ago. I think that this is kind of vague. I think that it's very vague. And you don't know when you'll revisit it, but you have, and a range of numbers is just scattered all over the place. There's nothing really definitive with this. Not that anyone doesn't deserve a raise, but you know, when it comes to where this money comes from, it comes from the taxpayers. It's all over the place. And I know that that's the procedure to which and how you do that. But there's really no definitive. I don't know how you could pass something that doesn't have a lot of definitive answers and specifics.
But Mr. Polidoro, you're intimating that these 15 to 20% increases are taking place in the next year. That's what you're stating, and it's not the case, because when the budget comes out in March, you're going to see what's the definitive salary for that particular position when our budget document comes out. This is a range.
Range is not specific, and I never said anything about 1 year based on the history of the time you visited it.
No, but you're talking about a raise of 15 to 20%. If people are hearing that, they're thinking that's an annual raise of 15 to 20%.
But if you revisit it again in 2 years,
So
15% is still 15%.
So can you clarify your statement that you understand this is a range?
I do get that it's a range.
It's not a salary increase of 15 to 20% for any particular individual here, correct?
That it's a range, and it has
it's not
no
an increase of 15 to 20% for any individual here. Do you agree?
There's not. I just don't understand how you deal with no specifics. You have a range, and you have no time. No time
when our budget comes out, and you've poured over our budget, and you see what Mr. Cardis makes and what Mr. Carlmaire makes, and our directors, and the person who's working at the pool in the summer. It's in our budget. This is a range. It's establishing a range.
And again, you don't have a feeling when you will revisit this. We did 2 years ago. Is there to say that those numbers will be the maximum range for a period of two years?
Ray, there have been times we've had to adjust this during the course of a year. Am I correct, Mr. Cardis?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I would only ask. I mean, we've asked in the past. The definition of transparency is to put things out on the table. Transparency also involves keeping things plain and simple for common folks that fund all that goes on to be able to understand. We've asked in the past when you introduce a resolution and it involves a lot and block to be forward in what the address that may match with that is. Just keeping it simple and a little more specific is the true definition of transparency. When you're talking about a range and you're talking about no period of time, it's just all over the place. And maybe in the future, bring it in a little closer. Just because you've done it that way in the past doesn't mean that it's okay to continue to keep doing that. It lets us know. it just lets us know. But thank you, and I hope that everyone had a wonderful and a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You as well. Anyone else? Mr. Sweet.
I have a follow-up question. Should I wait till you do the public reading?
Yes. Anyone else? We'll close the first public portion. Minutes.
Waive the reading and accept the minutes for regular meeting November 13th, 2017.
Accept the motion to accept the reading of the minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Leland?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
I abstain. I was out there. Next, we have our ordinance, second reading, and there will be a public hearing. Ordinance 0-17-25 is the ordinance fixing the compensation of the officers and employees of the Township of Gloucester and the County of Camden. This sets in place services, well, the salary and wages of individuals that are listed as officers or employee titles within the township. I'll now open up the public portion. Mr. Sweet.
Sam Sweet from Ariel.
Good evening.
Good evening, guys. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. I understand it's a range. Who establishes the ranges? Is that comes down from the state, or do you guys establish it? How to?
Established by the municipality. Also, you take a look at surrounding areas, municipalities. Tom, anything else?
No, that's correct. The mayor and I reviewed the ranges with HR, and we made the recommendations to council, and that's why we see the ordinance as it is tonight.
Okay, because I'm using this as an example, and I understand again it's ranges, so it's not maximum. The maximum in 2015 was for, and this is for the township attorney. I just picking the first one, not picking on you, Mr. Carlin. It's just you were the first one. The maximum is $76,523. It's being now that range is being raised to in 2017 $86,713. So, and I realize he's not making that because his salary, according to the records, in 2017 was $73,551, which is below the max of the range set in 15. So, I think this is where the confusion lies: is people are looking at the maximum range, and yes, he's not getting a $10,000 raise until the budget comes out, but that's, I think, where the confusion is coming into play. So is there any way we can clarify that going forward? And I think what Mr. Polidoro was asking was, one, where the range comes from and who sets it, and then what type of salary bump are they getting? Is he getting that's a 10,000, so you're looking at, that's almost a 13% bump up from the maximum range. Now, I don't think he's getting a 13% raise, but we won't know that until 2018, until the budget comes out. Am I correct on that?
That's correct.
All right, so I think that's where
the salary will be defined in the budget document.
Yes, and then we can determine what type of raise and all that, and debate that later. But I think that's where the confusion's coming into play, is that people are looking at the maximum range and thinking that's what he's making in the maximum set. Like, oh, well, obviously they're making the max. He wasn't making the max. Now, it's my understanding, I didn't look at what you were making in 2016, but he could have gotten a raise in 2016 to 2017, as long as it's below that range.
The previous range.
The previous range. Okay, and then in 2018, his max is $86,000. So he could get a bump up to, I'm just making this up, $75,000, which is still below. If you don't revisit it in 2019, he then can still get a raise from 75 to 77, as long as it's below that max. You can't go above that max. Okay, I just wanted clarification for making sure I understood all of this, and for that. So I think that's where the confusion, though, is people are looking at them, again, the maximum, and going, well, they're obviously making the max, and you guys aren't. But that's where the confusion's lying and the differences, because they're doing the simple stuff. So maybe if we could clarify that going forward, we wouldn't have all these questions.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Have a good evening. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 0-17-26. It's ordinance authorizing execution of a tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Choose Landing LLC for premises block 9708, lot 1, C0200 pursuant to C441 PL 1991 and ordinance number 0-95-39. This is for a tax abatement for the property located at 1391 to 1397 Choose Landing Road. To our right here, next to the Bank of America there, so it's the 4 condo type complex located on Choose Landing Road. We'll now open up the public portion. Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Mr. Sweet.
Sam Sweet from Ariel again. Who owns Choose Landing LLC? Do we know that?
Bear with me for a second. Well, it's listed as LLC, Choose Landing LLC out of Cherry Hill.
Do we know who owns that?
It's listed as LLC.
So
Choose Landing LLC.
I understand
Where
that's
address?
Choose Landing LLC.
North Kings Highway in Cherry Hill.
Okay. My question is who owns the LLC? There's partners involved. It's an LLC or it's maybe a single member LLC.
I don't have that information in front of me, but this is vetted through our tax assessor and also goes through our solicitor.
Okay. Only reason I'm asking is because Choose Landing LLC may exist at 1060, but there's a different name on the door. So I'm just kind of confused.
You want to provide that name to us?
Needleman Management,
Okay.
which is the leasing company.
You asked me a question. Do you knew the answer to?
No, I don't know
Okay.
whether Needleman Management owns the LLC. That's who the address is. My question is who owns the LLC?
Okay. I do know at the time that when this property was developed, Needleman was the developer. Is that correct, Mr. Lecter?
I believe that is correct, yes.
But Choose Landing LLC is asking for the tax abatement. So who owns Choose Landing LLC? Other than Choose Landing LLC. I mean, there's a single person. It's either a single person or a partnership. I would think that you guys want to know who you're doing business with.
Well, I'm going to give you an example, Mr. Sweet, and Mr. Lecter, I'm going to ask for your help on this, and Mr. Carlemere. There are many times where we have developers that come into our township, and they'll take the name of the street or the property that they're working on, and they'll call it Choose Landing LLC.
Mm-hmm. But you just said a developer will come.
For instance, when the property where the outlets were located, it was prior to that, that was an LLC, the property owners of it. Okay, so.
But somebody owns that LLC.
Is there an issue with Needleman that we should be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of yet, but I'm asking the LLC, who owns it? Like, I have an LLC, okay? Samuel E. Sweet Accounting, LLC. If you ask who owns it, obviously it's in the name. But I can give you, if you ask, who owns Joe Schmo LLC, I could give you 1 or 2 names. These are people I do business with. Why can't we answer that question on who owns Choose Landing LLC? Is it Howard Needleman, who owns Needleman Management?
I don't have that information in front of me, Sam, but the information, again, went through our tax assessor, okay, when they submitted their application.
All right.
And it goes to our solicitor.
And I spoke with the assessor tonight before the meeting, and everything is according to where it should.
But we still don't know.
So is there an issue? I don't understand.
I'm just asking who owns it. That's all I'm asking. I'd like to know who owns it.
Probably not relevant.
It is actually could be relevant.
How? Do you have something you want to share with us, Mr. Sweet?
No, I don't have anything yet that I would like to share with you, but it could be relevant from the aspect of there is a tax abatement from 2010 on this same property under this same name 7 years ago. Now they're getting a new tax abatement.
They're condoed out.
Okay, so is each condo get a tax? I mean, I talked to Mr. Carter this morning. Each condo.
And I confirmed with you
each
that
condo.
they are different.
So my question though is, then going to go relate to the Gloucester outlet centers. They got a tax abatement, not for each individual one, for the entire. What makes them different than those? That's my question.
Abatements are as they are completed. That was what Chuck told me tonight when I spoke with him before the meeting. As each one is completed and CO'd, then they qualify for the abatement, and that's when he processes the paperwork for the abatement to come before the governing body.
Correct. That's the statutory.
Okay, so that abatement back in 7 years ago was for some other separate building,
They received the CO back.
even though it's the same lot and block number, because they're individually owned, but the Gloucester Township or the Gloucester Outlet Centers are all owned by one person or one company that are leasing out. So then they only got one CO, and that one tax abatement covers everybody. If I'm understanding that. Like Skechers doesn't get its own tax abatement.
No.
Adidas doesn't get its own tax abatement. It's Simon owns it, even though, because it's all of that, even though it's different buildings, per se.
It was all CO'd at the same time.
Okay, all right. I'm just asking, trying to understand how it's
I'll
going.
tell you what the assessor told me.
Okay. And in reference to getting back to your question on Shoes Landing LLC, it matters on who owns it, because what if a criminal owns it? I'm not saying one does, but what if one does? Or what if one was giving out political contributions? I just think it's an easy question to answer. So, that's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll close the public hearing. I entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Thank you. On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Mr. Milian?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next we have our resolutions, like consent agenda. I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented, along with the walk-on R1711-310.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Winters. On the question, roll call.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Milian?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We did not receive any GTE Gov access emails. We'll now open up our second public portion. This is for any item. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening again, Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel. As somewhat of an addendum to the question on the salaries, the salaries that are mentioned in the already approved ordinance, some of the employees, or a good portion of our employees here in the township, have a benefit to which they have their full medical coverage, and when they get their medical coverage, they're also reimbursed for their out-of-pocket copay. Of the people that are receiving this salary increase in administrative, are these people that also are reimbursed for their out-of-pocket copay, whether it be from $500 per year, calendar year, to $750 per calendar year? Are these folks that are receiving these salary increases fall under that category as well to get that out-of-pocket copay reimbursement?
Well, first, I'm going to go back to it's a range. We're not indicating there's an increase for all these individuals that are listed there. Second, there are individuals, I'll give you an example. Mr. Carlbear does not have health care benefits through the township. So no, he's not receiving any reimbursement on his co-payments. Mr. Karsh, you want to add to, we're self-funded, our insurance plan.
Those employees that are non-union employees covered by the ordinance that qualify for health insurance would be entitled to the IRS limit of $500, which is a reimbursement of co-pays and out-of-pocket expenses, which covers not only medical but prescription and I believe dental and eyeglass. And that is pursuant to IRS regulations. In other words, with IRS regulations, that plan has to comply with those regulations, and that plan must provide for those types of reimbursements. It cannot be limited to just medical. It can't be limited to just prescription. It has to cover all those. And that limit is set by IRS.
when you say that is, it's governed and approved by the IRS?
The program itself that you're referring to, the reimbursement program, which you said goes from $500 to $750, it does not. It is limited to $500.
There are some in the township that do receive as much as, but just not this specific group, correct?
As much as $500, and this group would be included if they qualify for health insurance, such as myself.
Okay, now, that is also something, if I'm not mistaken, is that not also negotiated in contracts with our regular public employees?
It is part of all of the negotiated contracts, all 7 contracts that we have. And going back as long as I've been here, and I've been here since 1989, the non-union employees basically mirror the Council 10, which was Council 10. Before that was something else I can't remember right now, is CWA, administrative employees. So that benefit has always been part of the compensation package for those non-union employees that qualify for health insurance.
Okay, so with rank and file, basically, it's part of negotiation, but granted for those administrative as a practice, if I'm understanding that correctly, right?
I guess you would call it a past practice because it predates my being hired here, yes.
All right, and by describing or implementing the IRS, it basically falls under the realm of taxable, non-taxable type thing. I was just asking as a matter of, as well as benefits.
And just so we're clear, there is also an ordinance that establishes the different benefits that are received by non-union employees. And that's been in existence going back as long as I can recall. I think it goes back in the 70s and 60s.
For that reimbursement?
Not only for that reimbursement, I don't know if it specifically covers that reimbursement, but it would cover vacation, sick, personal time, any of that stuff.
Okay. Like I said, I just wanted to better understand that as well.
And I believe it's also part of the Personnel Policy and Procedural Manual, which is adopted by ordinance by council.
Okay. I'll send an OPRA in. Would that come to you? I'd like to find that.
Any OPRA you send goes to the clerk's office.
But what I'm saying is, for that, back in the 70s that was?
You know, again, I don't know the specific date. It probably is amended and part of and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, the Personnel Policy and Procedural Manual.
I would have to think that that'd be more modern, because back in the 70s and 80s, healthcare coverage was healthcare coverage. When you used to go to the doctor's, hand a card and pay nothing. In the last 15, 20 years, started all this crap, if you will, with insurance. So I got to imagine it's a little more recent than that. But I will check with the clerk to see when that was first implemented.
So what are you saying?
The copay, out-of-pocket copay reimbursement. Because I doubt that was around in the 70s. Because there really was not a whole lot of copay back then.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's an ordinance that spelled out the various benefits, maybe not just health benefits, but benefits, whether they be vacation, sick, personal time, other benefits, that those non-union employees would have received.
And that's a separate issue. Everyone's entitled to vacation and health care and benefits.
And again, I came here in '89. As long as I have been here, those non-union employees receive health insurance and receive the other benefits that the union would have received.
Okay, and I am being specific when I am just referring to that out-of-pocket copay reimbursement. So we'll look and see when that came about. But again, thank you. Hope everyone has a good night.
Yes, well. Anyone else? Mr. Sweet.
I'm going to work off Thanksgiving dinner. Sam Sweet from Ariel. 2 quick questions. Resolution 309. You're combining staffing of the Certified Public Works Manager for MUA and Gloucester Township?
We have Joe Brickley. Let me explain this here. So the MUA, Joe Brickley is a Certified Public Works Manager. We're using his certificate. It is being held here in Public Works that allows us to operate. Mr. Cardis does oversee the Public Works Department, but you need a certification there in that department. So this is a agreement that we have, a shared service agreement with the MUA to use Mr. Brickley's certificate for our Public Works Department.
Okay, does that cost us anything? No, it's just basically...
Yes, it's I think $1,000 a month.
So minimal.
$1,000 a month. He consults with Mr. Cardis and the MUA regularly.
Okay. And my last question is, on the bills, how do the Gloucester Township employees get paid? Do they get paid through Camden County Treasurers? Yeah, like, how do you... Your checks, do they come from Gloucester Township or do they come from Camden County?
Yeah, we process our own payroll. We do not have an outside payroll.
Okay, all right. I might want to follow up with you after the meeting. No need to discuss it in council, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
All right, thank you. That's it. That's all I had.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Lechner?
I have nothing to comment, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Parliament?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Campbell?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Mr. Schmidt?
Congratulations to our officers. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your questions.
Mrs. Stubbs?
It was great seeing officers, the 4 officers sworn in today. It always makes you feel good to know that, and makes you feel good to feel protected. And thank you everybody for coming out.
Mrs. Winters?
Just want to congratulate the officers and thank everyone for coming.
Mr. Mignon?
Once again, congratulations to the officers tonight. It was an honor to participate in November Beard and to show prostate cancer awareness and suicide in men. This hits home because my father-in-law is battling prostate cancer with metastasis to his bone, so it was an honor to participate, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity. Thank you. Good night.
Mrs. Tarda?
Congratulations to our officers and thank you and have a great week.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I was at our last meeting, so I wanted to thank the police department and public works and the volunteers that participated in our 4th annual trunk or treat. We had, this is the estimates I got, at least 5,000 people that were in our park that evening, trunk or treating. So I want to thank them for coming out. Behind us, did you have a bigger crowd? Yeah, I would. Yeah. Behind us, the toys. This is part of the mayor's toy drive. So if you're interested in providing toys for the toy drive here, you can drop them off at the mayor's office. December 2nd, this Saturday, is the Blackwood Christmas Parade. It starts off at Sam's Bar and Grill and ends up at the Blackwood Church Street, with festivities at the Blackwood Firehouse. Kudos to the police department again for the November. Harry, yours looks as bad as mine. You know, we can't grow hair, huh? I mean, yours looks pretty good. Cardis quit halfway. So, but I scheduled my prostate exam. So, thank you very much for creating awareness of that. Congratulations to David Mayer, Dan Hutchison, and Michelle Winters on their re-election, and also congratulations to Scott Owens. I look forward to working with all of you in the next 2 to 4 years. So, with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, don't forget the December 10th tree lighting here in the park. There's also a carousel December 8th, 9th, and 10th here in the park. It's free, available to all residents here. And the tree lighting is December 10th, I believe, at 6 o'clock-ish. Okay. There's the Eagles game DVR. All right, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor? Thank you. Have a great evening.